remember the name Danny Jones. Dan Jones, I think is English, but he could be Danny Jones.
Could be Danny Jones.
Do you know when we finally arrived in World Rugby? When the first thing I ask you is, one, who's the TMO?
Yeah.
Two, who are the touchline officials? And then who's the referee?
The real stars of the show, mate.
The real stars of the show. Dan Jones, is he going to be 3 minutes, 11 minutes, or 18 minutes in to say, I have noticed white or green 5 has done something. We'll find it on a freeze frame.
17 phases ago, mate. Let's bring it back. Yeah, no. I'm sure it's going to happen. But in a way, it kind of plays into how this November series has gone. The way the Boks, mate, we've basically relived the 2023 World Cup. Those agonizing 1-point victories, although these matches have been, the margins have been higher, the way, the angst, the tension, the anxiety around the performances in the contest after these ridiculous red cards have just actually added to the drama, mate. It's just, I think it's galvanized all South Africans to just get in behind the Boks. And I think the rest of the world is starting to join us and starting to see the same picture.
No, it's incredible. So the win against France, the Six Nation champions, Allez le Bleu. 12-11, World Cup final 2023. They weren't there. They said they would have been there had it not been for a Kiwi, Ben O'Keefe. They weren't there.
Yeah.
We scored 4 tries. We went back, we scored 4 tries. We did it by playing one man less for about 30 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
Comfortably, 32-17. We didn't say we'll win the next World Cup. We just said we'll retain it. Then we go and play Italy, a game that you always know we should win. We've now won 19 out of 20 against them. It's no shock that we win there, but it is a shock when you win with 13 on 15. And I thought that was one of the gutsier, down to the gutters, magnificent Bok performances that highlight everything that is golden about this generation, everything that is great about what they built over 9 years. You can't manufacture it. You can't buy it. That's got to be earned, and it was earned within that squad. And what was amazing about that was how many newbies were in that match 23 and some old heads. And for me, a chess rugby masterclass of substitution from the doctor. There was no waiting till halftime for hindsight. 13-3 down. There was, you're off, BJ. You're off, Zach. You're off. But Joel's strategy was saying, I think this is a bit early. You keep drop goals, Joel, in World Cup finals for us and let the doctor do the substitutions.
Spot on.
By 45 minutes, basically, the only 2 guys who hadn't been put on were the halfback period who came on in the last 15 minutes.
Yep.
Grant Williams and Martin LeBlanc.
Yep.
Now, that shows the incredible understanding of Rassie Erasmus and his team, the strengths, the balance, and how each player buys into it. BJ Dixon, this was going to be his big game to show he belongs there again. 13 minutes and he's off. Edward van der Merwe knew why he was coming off. They had to get someone else on. They had to get the Andre the Giant, the hybrid, the most valuable player in that 23 now. They had to get him on to scrum on our put-in and then to defend on their put-in. I loved it, man. It was just glorious. It was the most absorbing test match I've watched outside of the quarterfinal against France in 2023. This was riveting.
Absorbing is the right word, mate. That's exactly the word for it. And that's how I feel about both of these last 2 test matches, is just the backs against the wall, finding a solution. I mean, Rassie's involvement in this game was so high, it's possible he tweaked a hamstring because he was so involved in those substitutions and in just managing the game. An absolute masterclass again. These last 2 test matches, mate, if you've been in a coma since 1995 and you were just coming out, after you've wrapped your head around cell phones and the internet, if you want to know what the Boks are about, watch these 2 test matches, because classic Springbok guts, resilience, character, just problem solving on the fly. I feel like I'm saying that all the time now, but I've always admired the Boks, but these last 2 tests and those playoff matches in the World Cup, that's what earns respect. That is just massive guts, character. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And I love the fact that the Boks found a way around it again to pull out a great win, mate.
But also, again, you don't simulate World Cup playoff kind of moments. You can simulate the pressure type moment.
Yeah.
World Cup playoff moment, it doesn't go right. You're not there the next week. You go home. They're still on tour, so they get another week.
Yeah.
But to put a Boamfante into the cauldron of Stade de France in Paris a week ago, yank him on 31 minutes. To have him on, off. Had hard. The Steenekamp pulled off again because his gum guard went, made an alert sound, passed the HIA test, was back on the field. To play with such adversity, but in the moment, is something that can't be replicated. And this is what he's done so brilliantly, Rassie, over the last 2 years, post-winning the 2023 World Cup, is he's gone with 60-odd players. He's put them in the most pressured situations, and he's backed that they will come out of it triumphantly. As he's always said, you don't have to lose to learn. You can win and learn. And they're winning at 85% of their games, home and away. They've won everything that's in front of them in terms of tournaments. They're the best team in the world. And it's just wonderful to watch where they can go to find a way to win. And I know we're a rugby show, but we are proudly South African. And we did the trifecta. Bafana over Zambia 3-1. And then the most incredible win, Themba Bavuma leading like Siya Kolisi does with the Proteas, winning for the first time in 15 years in Kolkata at the Great Garden. Eden Gardens. What an incredible win. What an incredible weekend for South African sport, and done through adversity as well. The cricket is in Kolkata. Our team in Turin, home of Juventus, 33,000, mainly Italians. I did see some green jerseys there. But it all spoke to this revival of the Italian side. And yet, on 31 minutes, it was us who went up 3-0 and repelled them. Franco Mossa got binned in the 11th minute. That's very early when your primary line-out specialist is off.
I mean, mate, yes, it is. For me, those other two results are probably more impressive because while the Boks were down to 14, obviously the Proteas and Bafana were down to 11 players. So even more impressive results, mate. But yeah, no, look, the magnitude of the gut check and the response to that adversity from the Boks in these last two tests for me is the most confirmation you could possibly ask for. That this team will be a massive contender at the next World Cup. Regardless of who steps into the fray, that culture and that belief and that desire to get the result, regardless of what's going on, regardless of external factors, you can't really coach that up. This group has got something very special going on, and kudos to them. I couldn't have asked for better results in this end of your tour, and I'm sure we're going to see more of it on the weekend. I'm sure they're planning around having 14 players against Ireland. And I'm looking forward to another gutsy win.
Well, you know what? You talk about guts, and you talk about pedigree. Then I look at a guy like Andre Pollard. He's closing in on Percy Montgomery's record for the most points scored by a Springbok in Test history.
Yep.
He'd been in the stands for the best part of 6 or 7 weeks. I heard Nick Mallett say in his post-match he thought Pollard should have taken hold of the game a bit more. I disagree with that.
Same.
I thought he was outstanding, given he was working with 2 forwards less at a time. When Manie Lebok came on,
that's the key.
Parity was pretty much restored. We were in the lead, and Manie could do his magic, as we know he can. Mm-hmm. Wonderful cross kick to get Ethan Hooker his first Test try. But when I look at Pollard's performance, it like ties straight in with our collab with Pick and Pay ASAP. And the Smart Kicker app game, go on there, download it. 10 million rands worth of prizes to be won. You can be a winner like Andre Pollard. It's a fantastic initiative. Kind of ties in the brand with the Springboks, but it ties it in with someone like Pollard. If it's not Pollard, it's Manie Lebok kicking for goal, or it's Sasha, or it's Damian Willemse. But I felt he's calm throughout. He had Kane Moody at 13, Ethan Hooker at 12 in their first Test match as a combination. Morne van der Berg on his inside, not wholly experienced. Edward van der Merwe on his outside, not wholly experienced. And he was just, I thought, magnificent in his calm throughout. And he wasn't relying on a dominant scrum, a guaranteed set piece. And I thought when he had to kick his kicks, he did. The drop goal he put over, went over, they brought him back for it. There was a technical infringement, he kicked the penalty. But he gave you surety that while he was on that field for that first hour, I never felt the Boks were going to be behind. I mean, he could have been on that game. He could have just been potting them from everywhere. He was Mr. Ice Cool again. And again, a shout out to that guy. We know Sasha is running red hot at the moment. We know what Manie can do, especially when he comes on in that last quarter. He's probably the most fluent of all the 10s we've got. But in Andre Pollard, I trust. And I think that guy, to have him in your squad and to even think of him as a number 3, going into the World Cup in 18 months' time. How blessed are we?
Yeah, no, exactly. Well said. I mean, when the warning light goes on the fuel tank, you've got to lower the revs, and I think that's exactly what Andre did. He basically nursed the Boks into that final quarter for Mani to come on, switch the lights on, and have a go. He realised, listen, we can't be playing an expansive game, a wide game, when we're down a couple of forwards. That's going to bring Italy straight into the game. So it was about slowing it down, maybe keeping it a bit more narrow, playing the percentages, and that's exactly what the Boks did. They got it right. So I thought he was superb. Maybe not the most exciting performance from Andre, but certainly the most mature.
Yeah, and when Nick said, he was too deep in the pocket, he felt he should have been more. But we were a player down, we were 2 players down at times. You didn't want to give them too much to run back at you.
Correct.
And we had to slow it down to a snail's pace.
Yeah.
We were getting no reward from the set piece.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and I'm not a scrum expert, I rely on the tanks of the world, Tank Lanning, and what they were saying on social media. I rely on those guys, the Robbie Kempsons who have been at the coalface. Just the interpretation was so slanted against us, as was everything in that game. A match official, in terms of the referee, who had no control, and his match officials, I felt as a collective, had no control. And so much was missed. I mean, the take in the air, which one of our winners was it? Caden Moody was taken out by Lino, and Caden Moody's like half a metre off the ground, and he gets taken out, and the guy says it's a fair contest. Now, the laws say his feet have to be on the ground before the guy takes him out. It's not a fair contest because he made the tackle. They weren't going for the ball. And that was just, some of the free kicks against us at scrum time. And then also, when we got into dominant scrum positions, the short arm quickly to depower us from taking the scrum. And then they slow the game down for 6 minutes to decide on a red card when it's a straight thing. If you feel it's a yellow, send a yellow and let the bunker review system decide on the red. Social media obviously erupted, and not just Bok social media, everywhere. You got Andy Good, Jeff Wilson, Carlo Del Favo, raised in South Africa, played for Italy.
Yep.
Appalled at that decision. He's a lock, saying, how did Franco Master, 6'7" of him, where could he have gone? And he was the second tackler in. Ethan Hooker was already making the tackle. Paolo Garbisi, like Lazarus, just rose. He may have taken off because he missed 2 sitters after that. Keep him on. But what I can't understand, and we've been saying it ad nauseum, Zels, is they'll pull someone because their gum guard went off. But the guy now is basically being poleaxed according to the officials. Surely the natural thing is send him and let his head be tested. If it's all about player safety, it's absurd. And what was wonderful about having 1 million plus investigative rugby journalists on social media this weekend, they found screenshots of everything in every game. Prendergrass put in a big hit on James O'Connor. People raving about it. He should have been red carded according to the law. It was straight shoulder to the head. It was missed. Fiji, there's some Fijian who was put back into the Allianz Stadium at Twickenham. It was play on.
Shadow Realm.
Yeah, play on. It was. There were so many. Even that match at Scotland against Argentina.
Rory Dodge.
And it was, no. This was just a rugby collision, just a penalty. Common sense prevailed there. But if that was a South African, it's their first thing is he's got to go. It's definitely, this word of it's definitely malicious. It's definitely, there's no intent.
I love how they just add in new terms. Always illegal. Where did that come from? Suddenly we were all talking about always illegal. What does that mean, always illegal? From the time he stepped off the bus? When? What does that mean?
And always, he was always going with intent. What? To make a tackle.
Please.
And then no degree of danger. I had to say, when I looked at Max Jorgensen, his nose had been rearranged 3 times. It was bleeding and it said, no degree of danger. Well, my nose doesn't look so good, man. It's just those inconsistencies. World rugby is a shambles at the moment.
It is.
It's been done no favors by the match officiating.
Yeah.
They are either like deers stuck in the headlights, or they just are making up. As what did Skalkberger say? There's more fiction being written here than in a Hollywood script. It was so well laid out.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not even worth us talking about it because it's not going to change.
No.
I guarantee you that a South African is going to be sent off early on. If I was Rassie Erasmus, I'd just start with 14 and 9 on the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
And conserve our energy, get that kind of, the guys used to playing for the first 50 minutes with 14, and maybe they get a guy sent off, and then we go our substitutions back on.
But I think the only reason that any of this circus is actually allowed to continue is because the grifters have so controlled the narrative. I ran a poll on social media about what do you think is the most dangerous pastime. What's the most dangerous job in the world? And I had commercial diver, policeman, and pro rugby player. And 65% of the people who responded to that poll said pro rugby player. Now, if you don't understand that rugby is nowhere nearly as dangerous as being a cop who could get shot on duty and just you don't come home, or a commercial diver, which is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. That is how this safety hysteria is allowed to be perpetuated, because people have lost sight of what danger is. When a ref says there's a high degree of danger of what? And so, like, I agree. I don't think anybody thinks a concussion is a good thing, but there is no research that conclusively proves that concussions lead to motor neuron disease. And if there was, there would already be a civil lawsuit. The fact that this case never goes to court is also another little red flag for people to consider. So just a crazy space that we're living in.
But it's what they are seen as at the heart of protecting player safety and what they're letting go.
Yeah.
So Josh Adams comes flying in. The Japanese player is lying on his back, can't defend himself, and he basically does a flying headbutt into him.
Yeah.
Absolute intent, thuggery, straight red card, no bunker review system, and he gets a red card. And Steve Tandy is in uproar. I thought that was just a rugby collision. The guy ran from London to Cardiff to headbutt him. Then you look at the last one that led to the Welsh winning the match.
Yeah.
Some would say it hit his chest, and the reaction of his neck flipping was because of the hit on the chest.
Correct.
It shouldn't have been a penalty.
Yeah.
But because the crowd went mad, the guy who got poleaxed just got up and kicked the penalty. Never went for an HIA either. So it's
But can you see how none of
it's
that...
madness!
It is madness. None of that is an issue if you just give a penalty for everything. If you say this is a penalty, unless you can prove conclusively, which you can't in any of those cases, that was a malicious act of foul play, in which case you send the player. But if you just said those are penalties, then all of these incidents have penalties and we're not discussing them every Monday instead of discussing the rugby. But they have to be upgraded because there's this perception of this massive risk. This player's going to die now because he took a high shot. The guys that get high shots in these high degree of danger tackles, like Garbisi, get up and kick a 40-meter penalty straight afterwards. The blokes who go off because they can't stand anymore are the guys who go low for safety and take a knee to the head or a hip to the head. So it's just completely inverted. There's no logic behind that.
But if you look at the week before, they talk about intent. The Welsh centre who kicked out at Pablo Matera.
Yeah.
And then the debate was, can the TV show that he actually connected his head? So the intent became secondary.
Yeah, it didn't matter that he threw a punch and that he didn't land it.
That he actually looked at him, pulled his leg back, and hoofed him. Horse style.
Look, he shot at him, but he missed. Play on.
Play on. No level of danger. It reminds me of the scrum officer said to the referee, if I sought you and I told you that you were X, Y, and Z, would you send me off? He said, of course I would. It would be a straight red card. He said, and if I thought it, could you send me off? And he said, no, never, because you're thinking it. So he says, well, I think you are X, Y, and Z. We need a little bit more of that. A little bit more common sense.
I agree.
In rugby. Looking at the Boks performances, Zels, our Stecco play of the week. It's not a try. It's a moment of magic. It's the gliding Kane and Moody just standing up. Louis Liner, one of the better winners in world rugby, beating him for pace, precision, and footwork, and then throwing a magnificent offload to Grant Williams, who puts it down, turns around, no celebration, as if to say, job not done yet, we'll be back. That, to me, was just a glorious moment from a player who's really starting to revel in the Bok jersey, be it 11, 14, or 13, Kane and Moody. I just thought it was a wonderful piece of win play. It reminded me of that run, the try that never was, the 35-7 against the All Blacks at Twickenham, where he just glided through that whole All Black team and then was brought back for a very, very kind of iffish error on the part of the Boks just before he picked up the ball and scored.
He does have that about him, that sort of more time on the ball, casualness, and the way he just goosed the goad, went outside left liner for dead. For me, the real hero of that try is Grant Williams, because he's up in support and he actually drifts away from Kanan. So he's drifting without eyesight on the defenders that are coming across. He's drifting towards them, looking for that gap. That's a brave line to take, because you can get munched on that line. And because he's drifting, the whole scramble defense is going towards the ball. He hits the gap and he's gone. I thought Grant Williams was... you can't ask for more from an impact player, can you?
But Grant Williams whether he starts or he comes off the bench, he has X factor. You know, Marnie Lebok comes off the bench, we know he's got X factor. Running against tired legs, when the game has opened up a bit, and he is, like we said, the most fluid on the ball. But Grant Williams is really coming to his own, and he's quick. You know, they reckon he's the fastest in the squad. He's played on the wing in the World Cup for South Africa, but he's unassuming and he's there and he just gets on with it. And for me, it's very different to the other nines. A lot of chat, a lot of talk, a lot of in your face. You just see him play. And he's constantly asking questions of the opposition. I love that guy. I love his story. For those who don't know it, he didn't get an academy contract straight away. He left school, Paul Gymnasium. He went and played club rugby for Rovers in KZN, and he made his way through club rugby into the Shark setup and then into the Boks setup. This wasn't a 21-year-old who was identified at school and I kind of given a bursary. He's done it the hard way, and kind of he, again, typifies the soul, the gees, the spirit of that Springbok team.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, I don't know what else to add there. I mean, Grant Williams is sublime. And to have a guy like that coming off the bench and injecting the kind of pace that he does, and he's just an all-rounder. Like, he's a guy who's played on the edge before, played out wide on the wing, obviously a great scrum off, but he has those sort of finishing instincts. So he's not just a speedy guy with a great pass, he can also turn it on. If you put him in space, he's gone. So massive dual threat.
Okay, so Kanan Moody was our Stecco play of the week. It's now Kanan Moody and Grant Williams are our Stecco play of the week. Another wonderful match from Kanan Moody, the Ethan Hooker Kanan Moody center combination. It will take time. You could see defensively they weren't quite as sure in the beginning, but that also had a lot to do with a 7-strong pack against 8, a whole different change of mindset. But individually, I mean, when Hooker went back out onto the wing, he looked so at home at test level on the wing, so composed. The surprise for me was I didn't realize that was actually his first test try.
Yeah.
I thought he'd actually scored a few more.
Yeah.
I remember the one in New Zealand where he stood up the defense and offloaded back into Peter Steph-Tutoy. He's shown such strength. But he was good. And then Gaza, player of the match in Wellington at 12, player of the match at 15. Struggled a bit in Paris. I thought he was maybe trying to do a bit too much. But positional play was just outstanding.
Yeah.
In Turin. Just read the Italian, like he had that playbook. He just knew where those kicks were coming. He was so sure on the ball, willing to take on the defense, made some important, crucial meters to get us kind of into their half when we were starved. I mean, it took us 31 minutes to get into the red zone, and we basically scored. We scored the 3-point and went back and scored a wonderful try through Eskom, Marco van Staden. But Damian Willems, he was the player of the match. Just a great asset, 15 or 12. He's won 2 World Cups. He's won a British and Irish Lions series. He's only 27 years old.
Yeah, I keep saying I like him at 12, but for me, that was one of his most compelling performances at fullback. He'll won a few of those high balls back maybe, but his positional play, every time Italy looked for that kick space, Damien was there and he had it covered. I thought he was absolutely outstanding and a deserved winner of man of the match.
And then you look at what started and what ended as a Bok pack of 7 with hybrid Andre the Giant at 8. It's just incredible because that Italian pack is good. They're seen as one of the more powerful set-piece international opponents in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
They've troubled a lot of teams in Italy. Like we said, 22-17 against Ireland in the last game of the Six Nations. New Zealand battled to get 29-11. They scored late against them, really struggled to contain their pack. And you think how disjointed that Bok pack was and what was sitting in the stands. And how they dealt with him and how comfortably they dealt with him in the end. Another 5 minutes, we would have scored another 10 points. Just our conditioning and the way we finish in games is just such a credit to the Bok coaching staff, the conditioning staff. We're running out of expletives and adjectives for them.
But just the brute force. I mean, the way Kwacha ran over Garbisi, just like the sheer force of the Boks. We're just like eroding. We come up against a stone wall, and for the first 20 minutes, we're just dashing them with waves of physicality. And by the end of the game, the wall just can't stand up anymore. It's over's good over. So,
but how good was Kwacha Smith, man?
Insane, matey.
Talk me through.
No, he's just a fabulous player. I mean, again, another great impact player, versatile impact player, punches above his weight in contact, is great over the ball, and, athletic. What you lose in the line out, you gain at the breakdown. So, absolutely fantastic player, and just the options available to us. Like, these red cards are actually quite funny now, because every time they give us one, they just unearth the next guy in the queue to make his name as a world-class player in this Bok team.
If you look at Rassie's going to Thursday afternoon, we'll be doing a Zoom again, guys. So when these late announcements come, please don't be angry with us. It's very hard for us to get back into the city to get into a studio. So we'll do the Zoom. Bear with us. It's not first prize for us, but it's a lot more convenient to be at our residential abodes and talking to you. Rassie Erasmus, expect heaps of changes. The 10 who played in Paris, who didn't play in Turin, they will be back there. We're expecting Malcolm Marx to come straight in. You're expecting Eben, is it Eben and Ronald Keo with the Viking on the bench. The Viking starting with Ronald Keo on the bench. Peter Steff will be there, Seal will be there, Jasper will be there, Kobus Ryan will be back. I expect Sasha to start, the old guard in the midfield. Damien Willems, and then you've got the two winners, Colby and Curtly Arns. A very different team that's going to play against Ireland, closer to the team that played in Wellington against New Zealand, played in Durban against Argentina, and then obviously played in Paris against France. So that just shows you the depth that's out there at the moment. We've been doing a lot of collabs with some really cool partners. One of them, obviously, Castle Lager. And I must say, it was nice to sink a few castles early afternoon, okay? And then it became this absorbing contest. Because I thought, 35-15, one of those ho-hum games. And then at 0-0 after 30 minutes, it was like, I need another ice-cold one there. But they've got that wonderful, wonderful campaign going at the moment. And it's relevant to the soccer guys. It's relevant to the cricketers. And obviously relevant to the rugby players. The taste that stood the test of time. It's like rally your mate. Go out there. It's the legend cans, the legacy cans, 6 of them. You get them, you win $130,000. And what a weekend to be drinking Castle when you were watching the cricket in Kolkata, watching Bafana beat Zambia 3-1, knowing they're going to the World Cup. And that's also incredible, us going to the FIFA World Cup. And then obviously watching the Boks do the business, knowing that Dublin was coming next. And pity we don't go to Twickenham, pity we don't go to the Lions Stadium and play the team that believes they are now number one in the World Cup, in the world, and will be World Cup winners in 2027. I've got to love the English. It takes just one game to come back.
Mate, to be fair, they've won 10 in a row now. And that's exactly what England has been missing. I think England needs to be outspoken and loud. That's why I love Henry Pollock. I think he's going to usher in, hopefully, a new era for England rugby. We need somebody to challenge us, mate. It's getting a bit boring now. And England are definitely on the up with these youngsters coming through. Showed great mettle. I thought Henry Pollock coming off the bench made a massive impact in that game. Closed it out for England, and he riles everybody up for all the right reasons. So I love the guy. I think England are definitely on the up, and there'll be big time challenges in the Six Nations. And I hope that continues because there's a youthfulness to this England team that has some sustainability to it. Looking forward to the next World Cup. Whereas if you look at France, you're not really sure where they are outside of those great players who are now injured if they're not available. And then you look at Ireland, that's obviously an aging team. So England adds a bit of spice to the occasion. New Zealand, mate, I don't know where they are. I don't think they know where they are anymore. And then Australia, I got that call slightly wrong that they were going to beat Ireland, mate. They got absolutely hammered.
Well, I got it wrong in this. My accumulator at 25-1 on African picks. It was a great odds, 25-1. So New Zealand could pox it, Australia could pox it, and Argentina will win it. Because it wouldn't be inconceivable. Wow. After 12-0, I thought I was in the money. Then I knew I wasn't in the money by halftime. And I knew at 14-0, despite the comeback to 19-14, I just knew this was going to be a game where Mac Hansen was going to be the best Australian on the field. And he wasn't wearing gold, he was wearing green. Yep. They absolutely obliterated the Wallabies. The Wallabies are now 4 from 18 against the top 10 nations in the world under Joe Smith. They are 11 from 27. They will lose to France this weekend, and his tenure will end basically with a 40% all-round record and 21% against the top 10 nations. Eddie Jones must be thinking, what did I do wrong and what did that guy do right that they seem to be loving him?
Eddie Jones and Ian Foster, mate, having drinks this week, surely.
Post that incredible win at Ellis Park. First time in 63 years that the Wallabies had won there, 38-22, 22-0 down against us. They are on the cusp of becoming the first Wallabies team in 70 years to go on an end-of-year tour and not get a win. And they're not going to get a win against France. That's a given. How they have just fallen off the cliff post beating the Springboks has been incredible. They poxed that win against Argentina. They lost the second one. They got clobbered by New Zealand in both games. And I think that Perth one, as we said earlier, late last week, did the damage. They have been abysmal on tour against England, against Italy, and they just put up the yellow flag just to see them basically give up 46-19.
Mate, it was messy. It was messy, and it kind of talks to the importance of key players in that Wallabies team, because behind them, the next guy up is not doing the job. So, a disappointing end to the season for Australia, or almost end to the season for Australia. I don't know. A part of me still thinks these guys can pull it out and do something amazing against France, because they are that kind of team. But you have to say, on balance, you'd think they're probably in for a bit of a hiding this weekend. And what a way for Schmidt's tenure to end. And I suppose that just makes Les Kiss's job so much more difficult.
Would it be fair to say the kiss of death?
Superb. Exactly.
Look at Keo laughing
Exactly.
at his own
Look at
jokes
you,
again.
mate.
Look at me laughing
Look
at my
at
own jokes
you.
again. Irritating many out there. A guy that tends to irritate somebody, I really enjoy him. He is the modern day Bob Skinstad. The last time anyone was seen licking their lips watching the haka, it was James Cook, Captain James Cook, when he arrived. When he arrived in New Zealand. But the reason he was licking his lips, because he knew he was about to be eaten. Okay. How they feel
mate.
that stare down the haka. I thought the guy was having a seizure at one stage. But as someone who's got proud New Zealand roots, on my mom's side, most of my family lives there. It's like, can we just take the haka and do it, if with the All Blacks, for yourself in the change room? Because it means so much to the team. Forget this theatre of going out onto the field, everyone drowning it out with, if it's not sweet, low, sweet chariot, ole, 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 ole. And some guy licking his lips, some guy giving the odd evil eye. Razor Robinson, if they respect the haka, they must just stand back 10 meters. Just what a lot of crap, okay? It's now if they have an opening of a can, a Coke can, they have a haka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. For me, the haka should be saved for special occasions, for matches that are particularly important to the All Blacks. And for every time they play the other Pacific Island nations, they should do it, because that's part of the culture there, and it's a shared culture between the teams. But to be doing the haka at Twickenham, mate, especially these teams, I don't know.
A bit embarrassing.
These All Blacks need to earn the right to do that haka, mate.
A bit embarrassing to see them lay down the challenge now and they're going to get beaten up.
Exactly.
Hey?
That's exactly my point.
Run on quietly and leave quietly. Someone showed the clip of Sid going in the 70s, and he was Maori.
Mate, you're on form.
Leading the haka. Hey?
Show us, mate.
It looked like a hokey pokey. Hey, all these Pakia boys. They didn't seem to know what to do. They were just flapping their
it wasn't
hands.
good.
Okay. But we used to love that jump. Hey!
It
was the
The
jump.
heels up.
It was the jump. And
was
everyone's
the
like,
jump.
I remember seeing it for the first time in 76, Goodwood Showgrounds, the Proteas, that
Yeah.
was the Federation side, against the All Blacks. All Blacks won 25-3. I was there. Of
course
I
you
saw
were,
it
mate.
again. 12-11, Robbie Blair, 76 at Newlands. I was enthralled seeing this war dance. And then I see it on video now, and it's like an embarrassment. It wouldn't make it past the first round on South Africa's Got Talent.
Look, it's different when you've got a powerful All Blacks team. It's Piri Reaper, it's Tana Umaga doing it. And, these oaks are about to put 50 points on you. That's a whole different vibe. But to do that and then sort of leave Twickenham with a whimper is not great.
No, and they did leave with a whimper. And Razor, blunt.
Mate.
He's no Razor.
Mate.
He's been blunted.
He has been blunted, mate.
Not
James
All
Blunt.
Blacks, 4 Blacks.
Yeah. No, that's
They
fine.
were embarrassing.
No.
That last 10, 15 minutes was as poor as you'll get. It was as poor as we saw against the Boks in Wellington. England just wasn't good enough to finish them as the Boks did in Wellington, because they were there for the taking for a 40, 50-pointer going into that last 50 minutes. Bodie Barrett, I've loved that guy since his debut. 143 tests it is now. It looked like he got concussed in the pre-match. Have never seen him play that poorly. Those 2 kicks he missed for touch, the penalty kicks, they basically went midfield. The decision-making was absurd. They get a penalty. They're still in this game. They get a penalty. They 1 score off. 10 meters into the England half. They take a tap, throw it back 15 meters, and put a bomb up. The last time I saw that kind of madness was in an under 10D game.
Mate, we asked for the hype,
At
not
Sacks!
the wins. No, terrible, mate. It's embarrassing.
That was a test team ranked 2 in the world. Jamie George said the greatest team in the world pre this test match, arguably. It was just
It's very arguable.
What are these guys doing?
No.
Scott Barrett looking like he was being told this was Aussie rules. He looked so confused. Razor just looking like he was going to have seizures up in the coaching box. Just listening to them afterwards, how proud he was of the All Blacks staying in the fight, mate. They were never in that fight.
Never.
Go down guns blazing, get 2 guys sent off. Just show some ticker, some mana, some. Just show something.
Yeah.
They were embarrassment to what has worn that black jersey.
100%.
If you think of the Sonny Ball Williams, the Ma Nonus, the Conrad Smiths, the Dan Carters, Jerome Kainus, Richie Mighty McCaw. They must have just been cringing watching the type of performance that we saw. And they've had 2 big games, really. It was South Africa and it was England. When you're talking about packs who can dominate them. And we saw the results of both of them. Forget they've got 10 out of 13. They've got 3 wins against a French team that was missing 30 players.
Yeah.
They played an Ireland team that was first match in six months and dominated them for an hour. Should have put them away. Somehow they got out of jail. They should have been beaten by Scotland. The only team you can say that they looked comfortable against was Australia.
Yeah.
And outside of Australia, weirdly, it's the only team we looked uncomfortable against.
Yeah.
But,
I'm reading between the lines here, but you were not impressed with the All Blacks.
no, but I was impressed with England.
Yes.
I thought they were outstanding. I thought Georgie Ford drove them to victory.
I loved it, mate. I loved it. I thought it was great.
You didn't get that one, did you?
I did get that one, mate.
Okay.
I think, and I think exactly what England have gone to for success is exactly why the All Blacks are struggling. I think the All Blacks are still Razor's still treating this team like they're the Air Force instead of the Army. He's trying to fly with guys that are good with rifles in the trenches. And I think he needs to get back to what the infantry does well and let the Air Force come a bit later. These guys need to get back to the fundamentals. The All Blacks are trying to be too sexy and too clever. I think if they just got back to concentrating on their set piece, let Jace Ryan sort that out, make the scrum a dominant force, win your line-out ball, and concentrate on defending, I think a lot of their instinctive skills will come to the fore from the pressure that creates. But these guys are still trying to be a little bit too creative, and admittedly, they've got very creative playmakers in this team. But the strength of this All Blacks team to me is Cam Roygaard and Will Jordan. Those are the 2 guys that would make my world team in an argument around who the best players are. And I think that the pack needs to revolve around Roygaard, and then you need to showcase Will Jordan.
Well, George Ford went from, is he good enough to play for England?
Yeah.
Over Marcus Smith, over Finn Smith, and over Owen Farrell to top 3 in the world. I love that about England. They're ready for the World Cup.
I love that.
And they said, if only we were playing South Africa.
Yes.
If only we were playing
Talk
South
about
Africa
it.
next week.
Yes.
Guys, you're not. But guess what the good news is? You are playing South Africa on the 4th of July in South Africa. Next
Henry's
year,
licking his lips.
as the first match of the new Nations Cup. So for those who aren't aware, the 3 test matches preceding the 4 against the All Blacks in the greatest rivalry tour, 3 will happen in South Africa, and there's points on the board. So you've got a Southern Hemisphere top 6. That's the 4 rugby championship teams, plus Fiji and Japan. And then you've got the 6 nations teams. Now, there's going to be a winner, a 1-6 on the South and a 1-6 on the North. And the last weekend of November next year, they will play each other. 6 plays 6 down to 1 plays 1. And that will determine the first winner of the Nations Cup. They had to do it like that to make sure Northern Hemisphere team gets into the final. Okay? Yep. Now, interesting enough, we get England. We get England at home. And then the next week we get Scotland. And then we get Wales. So we can bank those 3 already, and then we go away and we play Italy. We can bank that one. We 4 from 4 before this tournament's even started. But they did give us France on the weekend of the 13th to the 15th of November, and they gave us Ireland back in Dublin to see who is going to be finishing 1 or 2 on each side. Interesting, they didn't send Ireland and France to South Africa, but we go there. Needless to say, it's nicer to win it away from home to do it like that. So we do face England. We get to face them before the World Cup in 2027, and we get to do it in South Africa. And Henry Pollock, we're going to welcome you with open arms, and we're going to give you a proper South African welcome.
Come on down.
And that's before you even get on the field. We are licking our lips, mate. We don't do the haka. We do the caca.
Nate, Sunday's game, we haven't spoken about. Scotland went down to Argentina. I think they surrendered a 21-point lead. Pumas came back to win it, mate. Gotta love Lost Pumas. Love their grit and their fight. That last 20 minutes, the damn wall broke. and the amazing, beautiful fairy tale of Scotland's attack disappeared and Argentina won. It was glorious to watch.
It was. And the beautiful thing, me having lost my phone, mugged in Cape Town last week for being too good looking, WhatsApp profile has been hijacked, stolen. If you are getting messages from me on WhatsApp, I think by the profile picture you'll see it's not me. I'm trying to have it shut down. If anyone works at Meta or works at WhatsApp, please help me. No one else seems to be able to help me to get back my account. So I was very quiet on the WhatsApp, obviously, this weekend. I had to resort to SMS messages, which I found out people don't read anymore, and to emails. But I did send this wonderful man in blue here at 21-0. I sent him a thing. The reason our favorite team outside of the Boks, or us Pumas, will never win anything because they can't back it up week to week. I went downstairs, opened up a castle, came back up 20 minutes later, and they were on fire. They were beating Scotland.
And the bad thing about emails is you couldn't delete it, mate.
I couldn't, but the good thing was I wasn't on social media. That wouldn't have aged well.
Yeah.
So a glorious 5 tries in 23
Wow.
minutes. Los Pumas!
Absolutely sensational.
In
mate.
my best Argentinian Spanish,
Oh,
I
you
sent
did?
them all a
Oh,
congratulations.
fantastic. And I love that about Argentinian rugby. I see Angus Pichot weighed in a bit. Stephen Jones was saying, oh, plucky Argentina, look what they've done despite the travails and the hardships that they face. And Pichot came out and said, hey, listen, we've got a Super League, we've got an incredibly strong club system here and some great grassroots stuff supported by a high-performance system. So we're on the up thanks to the help of South Africa, Australia and New Zealand. So.
Yeah, and thanks to the help of the Curry Cup, where they sent in a team to play there. The Jaguares, when they were playing in Super Rugby. I don't know where Stephen Jones has been for the last decade. Well, I don't think he's ever recovered from the 2021 British and Irish Lions defeat in South Africa. But even Stephen Jones said in his piece on Sunday, hang on a second there, England. A special win, but these are no All Blacks.
And fair play too.
And it reminded me of that. They've gone on with this big, the Grand Slam tour, which is now gone.
Yeah.
And there's only been 5 Grand Slam winners from New Zealand in their history. I think they made 5 tours. No, but they made a few more. The one Grand Slam they did complete outside of the traditional one was in 95. They beat all 4 home unions at the World Cup within 23 days.
Oh,
and beat them well.
yes.
They say it can't be considered because it wasn't.
I remember this. You spoke
Now,
about
how do
this.
you consider one when you play an island in Chicago, in any case?
Great point.
So they shouldn't have been considered as a Grand Slam. But this All Black team, it would have been an injustice to those who have gone before them and won the Grand Slam to even put them in this category. So the right result, Razor is bereft of ideas. He doesn't have any answers. His comments that have come out to the New Zealand public would put even more fear into me if I was an ardent, just this is my team, New Zealand. It speaks of a guy who just isn't there.
Stake your claim, mate. Is it time for Razor to go? Does he deserve another season? If he's going, who's replacing him? What are your thoughts?
No, look, they can't pay him out. He's there for the next 2 years. He's going to go to a World Cup. They're not going to win it, and Jamie Joseph will replace him. And they brought Jamie Joseph into the mix. The biggest thing in South Africa is going to be, can we keep Tony Brown post 2027? Because he and Jamie Joseph have been tied to the hip as coaches.
Spot on.
It's the jock, Nina Barassi, is the Jamie Joseph, Tony Brown. So if Jamie Joseph does get the job, he's coaching that All Black 15. They beat the Barbarians. They beat England A and they beat Uruguay 45-21. He played 36 different players on that tour. None of them could even break into that All Black team. He, to me, is going to be the succession plan. I think they'll concede. They got it wrong with Razor. They should have bought him in maybe 3-4 years before that, when they kind of gave Fozzie the 2-year extension. The wrong guy at the wrong time. A bit like Heineken Meyer when he should have got the job after Jake and he didn't. And by the time he got it, all his Bulls players were gone or they were too old. He tried to bring Big Vic back, worked for 6 games and didn't work for that last season. So I think they stuff. They have to keep Razor. He will win another 10 out of 14 next year, but he's going to lose the big ones and the most significant ones. And I think they're going to take a 3-0 in the greatest rivalry tour here, which will put heaps of pressure on him.
Massive.
The only thing there is that he may even lose the Bledisloe Cup. He may be the first guy in 22 years to
that'll
lose
be
that.
the end, surely. He doesn't make it to 2027 if they
No,
lose
well,
it.
at least he can say he did something no other coach has done.
Yes. Mate, you said the All Blacks can't afford to pay him out. Didn't you say something around Eddie talking about Wales?
Yeah, Eddie talking about Wales, when he said if he was a Welsh supporter, he would ask for the money back. But you know, mate, Wales don't have the money to pay you back. I thought they got robbed. Japan, they should have had that win. Wales celebrated like they had won the World Cup. First win in 11. They want to play Japan every week.
Yeah.
They 17 in a row, 18 in a row they lost, and they beat Japan in the second test in Japan. They lost 10 in a row at the Principality, and then they beat Japan. So they've asked for Japan to play them 6 times, home and away, to improve their record. Los Pumas say, Ireland, come along, we're doing the Grand Slam.
Yes.
So Ireland, while New Zealand's been over there doing this whole Grand Slam hoo-ha,
Argentina quietly stolen
Argentina have quietly smashed Wales 52-28 and produced the most incredible comeback, 33-3 in the last 20-odd minutes at Murrayfield against a team many consider the greatest in the history of Scottish rugby. Gregor Townsend has taken that team from 5th to 9th in 8 years.
Yeah, mate, that's not easy to do.
Now, when I ask a question about Gregor.
Exactly, that's the truth.
The Nelly boys, Bravehearts, Nelly boys of world rugby, they'll go nowhere. They'll go nowhere.
Which is a pity because they've got a great story, great tradition behind them.
Some great South Africans.
Yeah.
Looking at Los Pumas, I just love the fact they got that result. They do go to Twickenham, the Allianz Stadium. Wow, if I could get one wish, it would be that they do.
What
England.
a game.
That could be great. Then Ireland would just have to say to them, stick around for a week.
I'll go get me boots.
Stick around for a week and let's see Argentina do the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of result Argentina needed. Everyone's surprised. Paul Williams on X, great Welshman, who said, why are you surprised? They beat the British and Irish Lions. They've beaten Australia. They've beaten the All Blacks at home.
Yep.
They're ranked above you.
Spot on.
Why are you surprised that they beat you?
Yeah, because they lost to England in the middle of the year, I suppose.
Yeah, they lost to what we see is a very good England team, but also with not their full strength team. But it was a great weekend of rugby, made even better by the absorbing fighting characteristics of the Springboks. What do you think, Zelzy?
Mate, I absolutely loved every second of it, and I can't wait to see what happens this week.
And for people who say, guys, feet on the ground. No. Feet on the ground was David Gresham. Feet on the ground and reach for the stars back in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I'm saying when you're flying, enjoy the flight. We've had feet on the ground. We've been the ugly country cousin, the ugly stepchild for way too long. We are now the golden child, the love child, the Springboks in South Africa and in world rugby.